Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Well, I got in a baking mood this week, and you know it's going to be a good baking day when you pull Holly Taylor's cookbook off of the shelf. Holly's a good friend of mine. I've told you about her book before. It's no longer in print, but Holly gave me permission to share her coconut cream pie recipe with you. And I remember back when I first tried to make a coconut cream pie, I failed miserably. And until I did Holly's for the first time, did I ever get a good pie. So I'm going to post the pie recipe here, and I want you guys to screenshot it. Sprinkled with love, garnished with care, prepared with my heart for generations to share. Holly put that in her cookbook, and she had this beautiful picture on the cover of some food that she made on a beautiful antique cabinet that she has. And of course, her husband got to enjoy all this food, her husband and her son. And I've always liked that picture. It just shows like grandma's cooking. So here's the recipe. I want you guys to screenshot it so you'll have it. And then I'm going to take you through the steps. The only thing I do different is I don't temper my eggs, but I'll tell you about that when we get to it. I'm also not doing a regular pie. I'm making little, I'm going to put them in a muffin tin, my pie shells, and make little miniature pies because I'm going to take them to some friends who are sick. And I thought it'd be easier to just take a little round pie for each one of them instead of trying to cut big slices. So if you guys can screenshot these pictures, we'll get started. Of course, I start off with my pie crust. This is pie crust that's been in the refrigerator overnight. You don't have to do that. I just do that. I start off with 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Now, this is my recipe, and it works just fine, but you can use your own or you can use store-bought crust. I don't think it matters at all. 4 tablespoons of cold butter. I make sure I put my bowl in the refrigerator that I'm mixing all this with. 4 tablespoons of Crisco. I put all my ingredients in the refrigerator or freezer and get them really cold because it does make a flakier crust. 5 to 6 tablespoons of ice water, and a little bit of salt, and a little bit of sugar, and a little bit of vanilla. Now, that's for a sweet pie. If you're making a savory pie, like a pot pie or something like that, you don't want to use the vanilla or the sugar. But it just adds a little bit to the crust, I think. And then I'm going to cut all that together and roll it up, set it in the refrigerator for a little bit, and then roll it out. Now, I always, when I'm baking a pie, I get me a big old sink full of hot soapy water because I want to soak all the stuff that's got Crisco on it, and I wipe all the cornstarch out of everything so that it doesn't go down my drain. And then I put a bowl in one of my other sinks, and I put a paper bag in it to catch all of my trash because it's so much easier to clean up when you're finished. So I start rolling out my pie crust. I normally roll my pie crust on just a floured surface or on wax paper. It makes it come up a lot easier, but today I was out of wax paper, so I used saran wrap, which works just fine. And of course I used my rolling pin that was my grandma's that has no handles, but like I said before, I use it more than any of my rolling pins, and you don't need handles. It works just fine. I roll my crust out, and today I decided I was going to use this muffin tin that my friends Marianne and Julie gave me for Christmas. I'm in love with this. It's a Wilton muffin tin, and it's the big muffins, not the little ones. And I found a big soup mug that had a pretty big circumference, made sure that it was going to work, and I started cutting out the circles with the soup mug, and I filled all 6 of the muffin tins with these little pastry circles. Now, I had some extra crust left over, and my grandma taught me that when you have extra crust left over, and you almost always do, even if it's just a little bit of scrap, you roll it out real thin, and you slather it with butter, and then you put a little bit of sugar on it. And I've learned through the years to add just a little bit of brown sugar too, and it makes them even better. And after you put the sugar and brown sugar on the buttered crust, then you sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon on it. And you can put some nuts if you want to. I didn't today, but we usually like to put pecans or walnuts on it. And then you roll it up, and it just makes a little like thin burrito, and you just cut them in little pieces and put them in a little pie dish and bake them. Now, this is an approximation baking time. I just kind of watch them until they're done, and they are so good with a glass of cold milk. Oh my gosh, it reminds me of my grandma. So I take all the dry ingredients for the pie, the sugar, the cornstarch, and the salt, and I put it in a bowl. The reason I do that is I want everything measured out separately, so when I get ready to mix it all together, I can just dump it in the pan. Then I beat 4 egg yolks, and I separate each egg individually into a little bowl to get the egg whites so that I don't get any egg yolk into the egg whites. Here's a little bit of egg white from one egg, and then I pour that into a big mixing bowl because later on you're going to mix that up for meringue. Now you can also use whipped cream. You don't have to use meringue, but meringue is very easy. This is my big crock bowl with my 4 egg whites in it, and I lay a paper towel across it because you want a really clean bowl. You want to wipe your bowl out and you want to dry it, and you don't want anything in your bowl but egg white. Then I put my milk in a heavy saucepan, and then I start slowly adding everything like the beaten eggs. Now, Holly tempers her eggs. I tried that once and I scrambled them. So I saw someone else do this where they just put, now you add the dry ingredients, where they just put the eggs in with the cold milk and whisk it really good, and it starts to heat up gradually and you don't have to temper the eggs, but you can do it either way. Then you whisk on medium heat until it takes a few minutes until it starts to plop. When it starts plopping, take it off of the burner because it'll pop up on you. And then I add my butter and my vanilla and whisk it until it's completely melted. And then I take it off the stove. It takes quite a while, maybe 5-7 minutes to get thick enough to use for pie. You want to make sure that it's thick, and when you take the whisk out that it sticks to the whisk. Then I add my coconut, and I gradually fold in the coconut, and then it's beautiful. This is the point where you probably want to lick the spoon. It is so delicious. You don't even have to put it in a pie crust. Just put it in a bowl and eat it like coconut pudding. So I took my little pie tarts. They shrunk up just a tiny bit, and they were cool, so I filled them with the mixture. Now, you don't have to cool the mixture completely. Just cool it a little bit. It can be warm. Put your cream mixture into that, and then you take your egg whites, and you beat the egg whites with about 2 to 3 tablespoons of sugar. Some people use up to 7. I've never done that. 2 is enough for me, but I use a hand mixer. Now, you can use a stand mixer, but I just use a hand mixer, and you want to beat it a long time until it's got some stiff peaks to where you pull the beaters out and you've got some stiffness on the end of those peaks because you want it to have little peaks when you broil it. Some people bake their meringue. I don't. I put it under the broiler and I stand there with the door open and I watch it. I broil it for sometimes 1 to 3 minutes on about 350 to 365 and just watch it until it's golden brown and take them out. That's all there is to it. Now, of course, since I only made 6 little muffin tin sized pies, I had a lot of mixture left over, a lot of pudding. So I put some graham crackers in the bottom of some soup bowls and added the coconut cream mixture and just put whipped cream on top, because I didn't want to put my glasses and my soup mugs in the oven, and made these for my husband. Now, my friend Sherry, I showed you the other day her beautiful home and how she inspires me with her decorations. She's got just the most beautiful way of decorating, and she inspires me a lot with decorating. Well, I want to show you what my friend Carrie Hernandez does to me occasionally. I'm over here getting ready to boil some hot dogs, and I look at Facebook, and she's got this big spread of fresh cut vegetables and meat that's been marinated and all of her beautiful pictures of her cooking, and she kicks my butt with this stuff. And I get up and decide I better chop some vegetables and get my herbs and seasonings out and make something pretty for supper. I don't do it all the time, but when I see these pictures that she posts, I decided I better get up and do something a little bit fancier for my husband. She's an amazing cook. I would call her a chef. She takes the most beautiful pictures. And Holly, Sherry, Carrie, These are friends of mine that live around here, and they inspire me just as much as YouTube or magazines or cookbooks or cooking shows or decorating shows. These are my people. They live right around me, and they are so talented, and I just wanted to make sure I highlight them as well. And my friend Carl Taylor, the gardener, I'm going to be highlighting him one of these days. And I think Sherry ought to write a cookbook and use these beautiful pictures that she has and share these recipes with us. And not only does she show these beautiful pictures of her entrees and all the beautiful food that she makes, she also decorates. And she decorates herself. She's got beautiful hair and makeup and jewelry, and she's just a really cool girl. Her recipes, she uses such fresh ingredients, and she seasons them so well, and she puts these pictures on there, and everybody's begging her to do a cookbook, and I think she should. I think you guys ought to root for that as well. She can even take a hamburger and french fries and make it look gourmet. And she's a wonderful decorator. She's always showing her gardens and her patio. She's living the life. These people that I know are really living it up. And of course, she likes her wine like I do, and she just knows how to do it. So then we go back to my kitchen, and I decided after all the coconut cream pie recipe that I should make some salads. So Kevin and I had salad that night that I made the coconut cream pies. And we really enjoyed that fresh garden salad. Of course, it wasn't fresh garden salad, but you know. And then I took a drive and decided to go wash my husband's truck. He keeps his truck spotless, and this winter has been awful for his truck, and it was just caked with mud. So here we go.
A satisfying video of me cleaning my husband's truck.
The mud and grit just slid off of that truck. I couldn't video it very long because the camera kept getting wet and it was cold and loud in there. But I just took a drive and got it all dried off on the way home, and he thought it looked beautiful when I pulled in the drive. And I even swept it out and cleaned all the grit off of where you step into the truck. It was a mess. And I wanted to show you this cute little, I guess it's a little pot with a lid that has red transferware on it that my friend Sherry gave me. I've been keeping my artificial sweeteners in them, and I just think it's adorable. You know how I like my red transferware. And then we were going up to see our sons, who live about 45 miles from us, and I took them a care package. Do any of you do that for your kids that aren't married or have moved away? I think I'll even do this when they're married. I'll be taking them stuff. And then I made them a big old thing of country fried steak, mashed potatoes and gravy. I think they kind of miss Mom's cooking, because when I got there with it, they wolfed it down. This is a pretty big container, and they liked it. And I'm getting my garden books out, and I'm going through them and deciding, with Carl Taylor helping me, what kind of things I can put in the shade. And I can't wait to get to gardening and getting out in this nice weather. It was like 65 degrees today. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm MarcyJo631. I'm working on a whole bunch of videos for you guys. You won't believe all the stuff I'm going to be doing. I want to thank you guys for 80,000 views. And please like and subscribe. And let's all just keep looking forward to spring and be inspired.